We are so excited that you made some time to talk to us, especially because I think you have like the most popular show on Netflix of all time at this point. Everyone is talking about Owning Manhattan.
That's what I say.
That's what I'm saying to you too.
Oh, so we're saying the same
We're
thing.
saying the same thing.
Okay. Hey, listen, people like real estate. Everyone likes to be a voyeur. Like, you like seeing inside homes. Million Dollar Listing's been off the air for about 2 years, and in those 2 years, I made this show with Netflix, and so it's exciting to kind of get back out there, especially at such a global scale, and do something a little bit different, because the show doesn't feel like a normal real estate reality show. Yeah. You know? But thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's so amazing. It's been out for a few weeks. The reaction has been so good, and you're joining a really elite roster of programming on Netflix around real estate. And the first thing that I noticed when watching the show is how different it feels than selling Sunset or selling the OC or buying Beverly Hills. How did you sort of figure that out with producers to make sure it had a different feeling? I know it's with a different production company, so that also might have something to do with it.
No, I think it was all me, to be honest. I really made the decision that if I'm going to do another reality TV show, because Million Dollar Listing New York was 10 years. It's like 10 years, 2 Emmy nominations. I did Sell It Like Serhant. I did Ryan's Renovation spinoff. I did my wedding spinoff. And so, like, if I was going to go into this again, after we started our own business in 2020, I started Serhant, my own brokerage in the city. It's like, I've got to elevate the genre. Like, if reality TV 1.0 is the real world, you know, like Survivor season 1, stuff like that. And reality TV 2.0 was then like the Kardashians, Housewives, Million Dollar Listing. What's 3.0? Maybe 3.0 has an orchestra. Like, maybe 3.0 is elevated. Maybe 3.0 has production value that you'd see like in film or like documentary style, right? And maybe 3.0 is also because it's Netflix, right? You're not watching episodic reality TV. You're watching an 8-episode occupational docuseries that, like, I've gotten some of the stats already as to how many people have binged compared to other series. And it is wild to see how many people started one episode and then never went to bed.
That's how I watched it, where I kind of was like, oh, why is the next one not playing? I was like, oh, I finished it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you just can't stop. And I mean, it feeds on so many things, like you were saying, that people love, because it's like, has that like house porn. And especially in New York, there's not a ton of shows showing all of the New York lifestyle and everything like that in terms of real estate, which is so fun. And then I like that, obviously, everyone knows you from the past shows that you were talking about, but it's kind of giving you in a different light, because your life is a little bit more, like, we get a little bit more of like the working you, which we saw before, but not so much the personal life. Was that a benefit for you, do you feel? Or do you kind of like, did that kind of happen organically, or were you kind of like, I'm done showing every single inch of my home?
Yeah. I mean, it was a benefit to the family, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's no benefit to my wife or my daughter who's 5. Like, you know, she was, like, I met my wife on TV. We got married on TV. I dated there. Like, we got pregnant on TV. A whole season of Million Dollar Listing was our IVF journey. We gave birth on tele. So, like, I don't know. I think
your dues.
Yeah, I think the world's also in a different place now. Like, I don't think I would do that again today, because I almost don't even think it's as necessary. Like, it's a different space. There's so much noise out there. And so what I wanted to do with Owning Manhattan was honestly do something that had people put their phone down. Like, how do you create TV today that has people put their phone down? And the amount of messages and DMs I get where people are like, I put my phone down while watching your show, is really, really cool. I don't know. I tried to entertain people and show a real glimpse at, like, not just the good of the real estate business in New York City, but also all the bad, all the ugly, all the messiness, all the stress. And I think you feel that.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, your group of agents get into some mess this season.
Yeah, and it's real. It is super real. You know, it is not a bunch of people sitting around a dinner table every single episode and drinking and like squabbling. Like, we've seen that. Like, we've seen it for like 20 years. Like, we get it. Like, I wanted to make sure that we're going to put cameras in front of people's faces, almost like old school style, and say, hey, here you go. Let's see what happens for 6 months. And that's exactly what you see in the show. Like, the way, like, all the blow ups, all the drama and everything, none of it was planned. It just sort of all unfolded and then exploded around us, which is why I think when you watch the season, like, the first 4 episodes are very world building.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of unloads on you for the final 4, because that's what happened in real life.
And also, what I enjoy watching how it unfolds in real life and all that drama is that while I'm sure there's a part of you that's like, okay, the kids are being the kids and they're getting a mess. You're not like you're letting them know how that could be a detriment to their future goals that they want to do, which I think is very important too, which is a good, and also it's a good balance that I feel that you.
Yeah.
And some people don't like cutting that.
No, they don't. Because people thrive on it, man.
Yeah.
People thrive on drama these days. People thrive on negativity. Misery loves company. But I just tried to show an honest depiction of what our life is like. You know, like I said, like the good, the bad, everything in between. And Netflix is also a great partner. Like I took the show to all the networks and then went with Netflix because not just because they have the biggest platform, because it is massive, but also because I could tell that they were really willing to allow me to like play and have some freedom with production and like kind of do things a bit differently. Like I don't remember the last time I saw a reality TV show that like had narrative voiceover. You know, like stuff like that. You don't see that often, or breaking the fourth wall. So we got to have fun, which is why I think the audience is responding to it, because it is so unique.
Yeah, no, I really want to get your sort of reflections on your decision to firing Jonathan, because he started a lot of drama with that podcast, but I was not expecting to see you let him go literally on top of the world. What an awkward place to do it.
Dude, so awkward. Yeah, thanks. Yes. You know, it wasn't my intent. I don't hire people with the intent to fire them. I didn't hire any of the agents who are actual real estate agents who are actually at our company with the intent to let them go. That is super uncomfortable. Like I told you, it was just my birthday. I'm a Cancer. I'm sensitive. I don't like confrontation. I don't want to deal with it. I just want everyone to be great and happy, and let's just go to work, you know, and like go home and have good lives. Like the last thing I want to do is have to reprimand people based on behavior. But as the company grows, like when we started filming the show in 2022, we were like 350 people in total, including staff now. We're like 750 people. And so every person is a representation of everybody else. And if I don't act like a CEO, then I'll lose all the good people. And that's a tough lesson for me to learn. And so like Jonathan had just taken it 3 steps too far. Like I tell people I have 1 strike rule, but then I really try to like say, okay, it was a mistake. Let's make up for it. But when I started having other agents come to me and say, hey, you have a problem with this person, which really says to me, if he's who you value, then you don't value me. This is my notice to you that I'm going to start looking elsewhere, which is really what the subtext is there. Like there was a scene with Kayla. She came and got me and told me about this showing that she had with him and how it was uncomfortable. And what she was really saying was, if he gets to stay, then everybody who's here who does business does it. Yeah. And so I had to make that quick decision. And unfortunately, we don't have, it's post-COVID, right? We have a clubhouse in the city that you see in Soho, and then everyone works from home. They work from their cars. They work from their motorcycles. And so I just tried to track him down. It was hard to track him down, and he was doing content at the Edge in Hudson Yards. I was like, all right, so I'll just go get him there.
And you got him.
Yeah.
And
now an FBI style.
Sorry. I was just going to say, when it comes to the podcast, obviously Jonathan played a big part in that, but Jess did the podcast too, but she remained an agent at Serhant. Why did you feel like it was more of a Jonathan situation than a Jess situation? And how, did her participation in the podcast sort of change your perspective on her?
Yeah, I think you have first-degree murder and then you have manslaughter.
Ooh,
right?
Okay.
So first-degree murder is like intent to kill. And he went on the podcast, brought up other people's names, and was doing takedowns of people we work with. She could be convicted in court, but like in my court, not real court, okay? But she was an accomplice. You know what I mean? She was there and just didn't know what to do. Like it's almost like if all of a sudden I started going crazy right now, you're sitting here, you are an accomplice to my insanity. Even if you're just like, hey, let's be professional, no one's going to know that. They're going to sit here and they're going to watch this and be like, those two. That's what happens. And I've known her too. And like I said, Jonathan, that was like his second or third strike that we had gotten to that level. Jess had never had a really like a strike on her record before that and hasn't had after that. And I think she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay. So I feel that is good. differentiation between the two. And like you said, Jonathan, he's been doing his steps all around. He's still stepping. Do you see that he said that what was it that he was like, oh, this was my like master plan, like he was Machiavellian trying to get fired. What's your response to that? You fell right into his trap.
I don't. I mean, I haven't publicly commented. All I'll say is I don't fault anyone these days for trying to control their own narrative, but I think that the facts tell the story, and it's almost like the facts were on a global Netflix TV show.
I mean, it's kind of the funny thing. It's like the same text in a different font of people in the past after they're on a reality show. They're like, the edit, and it's like, did you say that? And it's like, yeah, but. You know what I mean? It's kind of giving that.
When clients come to me and they're like, all right, so I want to go on the show, but I just want to make sure you don't make me look like a jerk. I'm like, okay, so don't say anything that'll make you sound like a jerk or do anything. And they're like, well, but in the edit, I'm like, actually, no, if you're normal, the edit's going to make you look normal. If you don't say stupid stuff, you won't come off on TV and say, like, they don't edit your words to be like, hi, my, like,
it's not the Muppets,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He did bring a lot of drama and spice to this season. So is there any part of you when you were firing him were you like, oh, maybe I shouldn't fire him because he brings so much drama to the show? Like, since you are making a TV show, does that cross your mind at all?
One of the first things I did when I moved to New York City is I was cast on As the World Turns. So I came to New York City to do theater, and so I got onto a soap opera. I played Dr. Evan Walsh IV. And not long after I started, did I go from like a good doctor to the doctor that kills everybody, who then is murdered by his own grandmother, which in actor world means you're fired, okay? And I remember going to the executive producer, and he's like, hey, listen, if the audience loves you, you can always come back from the dead. And that's what I'll say.
Okay.
Well, there's some hope.
Okay.
I don't know. But listen, you can always come back. I mean, we'll see what happens. But there's also a huge world out. Like, we have a big company of unique personalities. And the city is a huge city of unique personalities. I think he was great on the show, and I think everybody was. The same, Trisha, Jordan Hurt, my ex-assistant, agent. So like, dude, when I walked into that conference room, I didn't even know that I was gonna say that, but I know the person who told me said, "Don't ever tell anyone I told you." I remember sitting down there and it's like, "Were you arrested and put in Mexican jail?" And he had a little issue with me bringing that up publicly. But I think since he's owned it. But all the characters are so different.
Story.
They're all so fun. Yeah, they're all different.
Also, I'm like, it's good to know that it was just for peeing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, and also that's why you could pee. Yeah, I'm glad he explained it, because for a second I was like, oh, what do you do in Mexico? And I was like, oh, just number one, that happened.
Exactly.
Wait, but like you were saying, there's so many personalities. Because were you kind of shocked? Because of course, like, you weren't in a lot, like all of the drama scenes happening, not at the main events, all the Chloe and Jade stuff going on.
I had no idea.
And did you see them on Watch What Happens Live?
I knew that they did the bartending last night, right?
Yeah, and Chloe said that maybe Jade was making up the affair for attention or something.
Did she?
Right, Evan?
Did she?
Evan, I need a witness.
Did she?
Basically, I was honestly so shocked, first of all, to see them two bartending together. But they bring so much fun and mess and frenemy vibes. Like, I'm totally here for it. But Andy was basically just asking them how their night was going. And then Jade and Chloe started going at it. And Chloe's talking about, oh, I think you faked your the affair or whatever, the cheating allegations, simply for a storyline because you brought it up 8 months after the fact. And then Jade was like, no, as we saw in the finale, she did file for a divorce. So I just want to know what you think.
The tea that it was just spilled here. This is all news to me. I don't know. I did not watch it last night. I knew they were doing it. I'll actually not dig into that because I don't want to have anything to do with it whatsoever. They can do whatever they want. I think they were both great TV. I will say Jade is not your average commercial real estate broker in New York City, but all of her properties sold on the show.
Okay.
And what I cared very much, I mean, listen, I come from $1 Million Listing World, right? Where every single episode, Bravo would check our exclusive agreements. They would make sure that all the deals are real and that the deals are going through, or you get fired or you lose it. And it was a deal-based show, how you negotiate, how you sell them. And I love all the other reality TV shows that are, I mean, I don't think Only Manhattan would even exist had the genre not morphed into the streaming world. So I'm 1,000% appreciative. But I do sometimes watch other real estate reality shows and wonder to myself where the real estate deals are. And so it's a big thing for me here. If we're gonna make a real estate reality show, that we have real deals that are happening in real time, and all of her stuff sold. Not all of everyone else's stuff sold.
Okay. Okay. Chloe, stop TikTok and start selling. I don't know. I'm not your boss, so don't listen to me.
But then she got pregnant halfway through, and this, that, the other, and you could see it. Like even some of her interviews, they had recorded her thoughts later when they were editing, and so it was back and forth between like, not pregnant Chloe, and then whoa, she's pregnant Chloe.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad. Yeah, it was very funny to see that. But what you were saying, it's why I got so hooked on the show, is because I'm such like an HGTV fan of like house shows, and that's the part I'm like, I like to see the sale, I like to see the numbers, I like to see the people walking through impressed or not impressed, or I'm like, how do you find a fault with like an $8 million apartment? Like I don't know how, and it amazes me.
All relative,
people
man.
Could do, yes, but like you were saying that some of your clients, like some of them ask to be on the show, like because I always wonder that too, like how do you find people that are willing?
It's hard
when you're in like such like a high rolling environment. Like how do those conversations go?
It's hard. It's like, Jess Taylor does a deal on the show where she sells a Tribeca Law for just under $22 million. And so the buyer's attorney agreed to go on the show to represent the deal. And she basically, I think, just begged. I think she was like, listen, a lot of her deals are off markets. There were people that would never agree to go on the show. We're filming this. Will you do it? The clients obviously would not agree to do it. They'll remain in secrecy for the rest of time. But the attorney agreed to go on, and I don't know, I'm sure the exposure is good for him too, and in some way, shape, or form. But we don't film with people that don't want to go on camera. We film with people that do. Early seasons of $1 Million Listing New York, it was really, really hard to get people to go on. Later seasons, it was more like telling people we'll do our best to get you on. But the network cares about the stories. Like some people on some properties just aren't good TV.
There has been so much speculation about who Jess Taylor's high-profile client is.
Oh, really?
And you said that we'll never know who it's going to be. But it was so fun to find out that Bad Bunny was the one who rented the penthouse for a little bit for $150,000 a month, which was so insane. Do you feel like that really did help with the sale? Because didn't that just sell in May?
Yeah, I think you guys wrote about it. Maybe it just closed not too long ago. A penthouse for $15 million. I don't know. I think we worked on that sale for a long, long time. At the end of the day, everything comes down to price and patience and presentation. Like those are the 3 Ps, right? Price, patience, and presentation. And you have those conversations with sellers all the time. And sometimes it just takes one. Like we've had listings that are on the market for a year. No one comes through. Oh, it's too expensive. And then one person walks through. It's perfect for them, and they just buy it. And you just don't know. And that's very much what New York is all about. In some of our other markets, like in Florida, you put something on the market, and before you click the button, it's sold. It is wild to me. It is totally wild. But I think people love New York City. People love, watching New York City shows, which is why we have a production company as part of our company called Serhant Studios, and we had them make, they made fake trailers for The Sopranos, Sex and the City, Saturday Night Live, as if they were like owning Manhattan, that were pretty fun, and people really, really ate those up, just because New York is that unique, weird, crazy, like why would you ever be here, but also how could you not want to be here? It's got that love-hate relationship. You're like, ew, this is gross, I hate this city. Don't ever take me out. It's wild. It's wild.
And also, because while people are speculating, and it's the end of the day, about who bought that, a lot of people are speculating on something I don't know if you can comment on or not, because you posted a little teaser that made it seem like more owning Manhattan is coming to us. I don't know what we can talk about, but
that's a Netflix comment. I know they sent me kind of first metrics yesterday, which looked, from my point of view, insanely awesome.
Okay.
But I'm also coming from cable TV world, so I don't know. And so looking at these streaming things, I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is a record of all time. But to them, they might say, actually, who knows? I don't know. I know the engagement's been great. I know people love it. It's been wild to see like the global awareness that Netflix has, like all in one day, especially for what we do with such a global clientele across from Asia, the Middle East, South Africa, South America. I mean, it's been a wild experience, and I am super, super lucky.
And like the luck and the excitement in your voice right now, I would assume you would be happily doing more seasons if given the chance, right? Because this seems like a show you could do for so long.
Yeah, my life is way worse now. So I think the TV would be. I think the
Turning
show.
40 got you that bad?
Yeah, I think the show would be far more interesting to watch, and I think people want to follow the journey, and we sell a lot. We sell a lot of real estate now. June was our biggest month ever as a company, and I think there's a lot to follow, and there's so many different storylines, even tracking the same cast members. And then I get excited too about, there's a lot more people at our company now. There's unique people that I think could be fun to mix and match within that cast. And I don't know, there might be some love connections happening now that I really try to stay out of. I really try to stay out of.
Okay. Well, I actually am curious, Ryan,
HR.
How involved were you in the casting process? Because like you said, you have hundreds of agents working for you. You have so many incredible personalities. Was it sort of tough to figure out who was going to be the main players on the show?
Yeah, I would say wasn't 100% up to me. I put together the reel and the presentation to take out to Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and Peacock and HBO and all those. And we had a big crop of agents, and I basically just kind of took everybody that was kind of willing, not anyone who didn't want to do it, but anyone who's kind of willing, which is a lot, and said, look at the amazing crop of people we have to choose from. Because a lot of shows, I think it can be hard to cast for us. Look, here you go. Here's 100 people to choose from. And then Netflix and the production company really just sort of whittled things down, and they know their space, right? They know their audience. They know what people are going to respond to. But I wanted to make sure that there was real spark. You either have a spark or you don't, and people are going to turn the channel. It's very easy to switch channels and turn off shows and not complete things if that spark isn't there when you turn it on. And I think they got it right. But there's also so many more people now that I think could add a significant amount of gasoline to that spark to create complete fire.
Okay, so I hope Netflix is ready to make some fire, because I need to see the love connections, the new expensive places, and how your life is worse.
Yeah.
With all the love in the world to you. Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to see what's that about. Yeah.
Good.
But congratulations on the first
Wait, and we need to see what happens with the Succession apartment and the Succession building as a whole, because season 1 ended on quite the cliffhanger.
Yeah, what a wild season finale. Did you stay for the credits though? There's a secret little scene at the end of the credits. You gotta stay.
No.
I know. Well, it's small. I don't want to get your hopes up. It's small.
Okay.
But I think Netflix, once the credits hit, it just moves you to the next show anyway. So you have to click watch credits. I need to post that.
Yeah, you need to give us thank you for the heads up.
Yeah. There's a little moment there. We're selling that building right now. It's 200 Amsterdam. It's amazing. It's incredible. And that deal, happened like that. We were pitching it for a year. Okay, a year. And then Matt Breeden, the guy, calls me. And I think they must have just had a meeting or something must have happened. He's like, you know what? We're just going to call Ryan. And it was like, you know what? I'll just come right now. Are you there right now? I don't want to wait because I've been pitching you for a year. If I give you the weekend, then you know what I mean? Then the meeting's going to be pushed and pushed and pushed. I will just come right now. And I have a camera crew with me. And there's nothing like pressure than showing up with a full-fledged camera crew. So I use that to my advantage. Sorry, not sorry.
I love it. Okay, and not sorry at all. Thank you for letting us know that we have to go watch the final few minutes. The final few seconds now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.